BFreeCBD.com joins forces with Championship Wrestling to bring you the all-new Championship Wrestling podcast. And here's your host, Dustin Starr, featuring special guest,
BFree CBD,
founder of BFree CBD, Daryl Bird. Here we go!
Body aches gone, leg pain gone, back pain gone, relaxation on.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to episode 18 of the all-new Championship Wrestling podcast presented by BFree CBD. Thank you for joining me, and happy Monday. Oh yeah, I am Dustin Starr, and I am so excited. And it's a happy Monday indeed, because I'm going to be talking to one of my absolute favorite wrestlers and all-time favorite characters. Gentleman Jervis is going to join me in just a few moments. Don't go away. But first, big thank you to BFree CBD. They are perfect for aches and pains, or if you're struggling with anxiety, be sure to check out BFREECBDcom. They have oils, bath bombs, and even flour and brand new gummy bears. You can follow them on social media. That's the letter BFree CBD. And go ahead and follow at CW30 Wrestling. And of course, I'm at Dustin Starr. Today, my guest is the most upbeat and positive characters in the history of professional wrestling. You've seen him on Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle. You saw him Saturday, in fact, in the Red Carpet Rumble. He had some pretty good strategies in there, too. He has a new online store where you can buy all of his coolest gear, including a Gentleman Jervis mask. I can't wait to talk to him. I actually have one of those masks. Can't wait to tell him about it. Last week, though, Zicky Dice was right here on the podcast, and he had some not-so-nice things to say about Gentleman Jervis. So we're going to hear what Gervais has to say about that. I'm sure he's not going to be happy. Also, today, I'm going to recap Saturday's Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle. We look back at the Red Carpet Rumble, one of my favorite matches and one of the most exciting matches in Championship Wrestling history. And then we're going to look ahead at what's coming up this week. And of course, I'm going to answer your questions in the mailbag. But let's not waste any time. Right now, let's talk to Gentleman Jervis.
The all-new Championship Wrestling podcast is presented by BFree CBD.
How in the world do you not like Gentleman Jervis?
I'll tell you the truth right now. It's been about 3 years. You know who had TV time the whole time? That happy, singing, dancing, mustache idiot Gentleman Jervis. And I got sick of it.
BFreeCBD.com joins forces with Championship Wrestling to help you be and feel your best.
Gentleman Jervis, one of my absolute favorite wrestlers. How are you?
Oh, Mr. Starr, it's such a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm doing so wonderful today. How are you?
Excellent. I want everybody to be sure to follow Gentleman Jervis at Gentleman Jervis on all forms of social media. We saw you compete in the Red Carpet Rumble on Saturday that happened back in September. I had the privilege of meeting you in person. And I'm give you a little peek behind the curtain. I don't know how many people see you without the mask, but that was one of my things. I don't want to see Jervis without the mask because I'm such a big fan of yours, man.
Oh, well, that's so sweet of you, and thank you for respecting the traditions of luchadors past. I was trained in the Mexican luchador style, so wearing a mask comes with a lot of respect and tradition, and I appreciate that of you. And I understand that you recently purchased a Gentleman Jervis mask, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Now, it doesn't fit me quite like it doesn't fit and look as good on me as it looks on you, but absolutely, I bought the mask, and that's what I was going to ask you about too. Is while you're at home during this time, how are you staying busy? What are you doing, Jervis?
Oh, well, Dustin, that's a great question. First things first, I'd like to share a factoid I learned recently, or more of an opinion from a local doctor that I've been working with. Now, my friend, Mr. Dr. Daniel Yost, he's a former referee for Evolve and CCW and various companies, and he's also a former wrestler. He's now a doctor of psychology, and he told me that he's been taking training courses on how to support his patients during COVID-19, during this pandemic. And they said that we're reaching a point that the event could become traumatic. And the best way to avoid any sort of upsetness or trauma is to schedule your days. Even if it's as simple as at 8 a.m. I'll make the bed, and 9 a.m. I'll let the dog outside. As long as you're making a schedule, you can keep yourself upbeat and in great mental health. So that's what I've been trying to do. I've been scheduling things like workouts. I'll run around the block or down the street. I've been also scheduling seminars, both public seminars and private seminars for my students that I've been working with in the past. I've been cooking a bit. The other day I made a funnel cake.
Yes, I love funnel cakes.
And you know what batter I used? Well, they made Captain Crunch pancake batter. I said it's an unholy invention.
Wow, that sounds delicious, Jervis. I'm gonna need the recipe on that for sure.
I'll share. I will certainly share. But I will say that one of the ways I've kept most busy has been launching a merchandise endeavor that I call merchboy.com.
Okay.
And merchboy.com is a platform that, a lot of people say that they can't really get on Pro Wrestling Tees, which is, the number one platform for wrestlers, independent freelance wrestlers, to send their gear and their wares. So I've had a lot of friends who can't get on there. The payouts are too low. Also, too, they don't want to sell just T-shirts. They want to sell things like hoodies and hats, beanies and masks. At merchboy.com, we've got all of that. We're supporting several different wrestlers and even a women's surf collective they were looking for their own hoodies and shirts to be made. So the goal for Merch Boy is within 3 years, we want to be a $1 million company. And I want to have at least 5 employees. So I'm thinking ahead right now because we've got over, I think, 25 million unemployed because of this pandemic, and I'd like to create jobs. So that's what I'm doing to try and keep myself sane and perhaps earn a little bit of income because, of course, I can't wrestle, and I've also lost my day job. So, I want to keep positive and try to keep working. I think if you stop working and you slow down too much, you lose momentum.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And once again, I want to tell people how to follow you at Gentleman Jervis. You will thank me later. If you think this is a positive interview, you should totally take a look at the social media. It'll keep you upbeat. And actually, not only just being a fan of yours, Jervis, for so long, but your positivity influenced me to purchase one of those masks. And I got to tell you, on my wish list is one of the Super Beetle masks. And so I got that off of merchboy.com. Yeah.
Oh, Dustin, that's so sweet of you to say, and it's a very lovely gesture. Wrestlers and makers of wrestling supporting one another, I think, is very important, and I appreciate you for taking part in that.
No problem.
Now, Dustin, how have you kept busy during this time? What are you doing to keep yourself well?
Well, we're still producing brand new episodes every single week on Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle here in Memphis and on YouTube. We saw you just a couple of days ago on Saturday competing in the Red Carpet Rumble. But one of the things and one of the things that you said just a minute ago about wrestlers supporting other wrestlers, I've got to tell you that last week I had outlandish Zicky Dice as my guest right here on the podcast. And he is the total opposite of supporting his fellow professional wrestlers. I asked him why he did what he did to you, because just a couple of weeks back, it hasn't been that long, and I hope you're recovering well. He not only attacked your knee, but he tried to take your mask. And as you said earlier, that's a very important piece of tradition in Lucha Libre. His answer was because he was jealous of your TV time. What do you have to say to somebody like Zicky Dice who does that type of thing to you?
Zicky Dice is properly outlandish. I say the phrase, the gimmick. It's not just a gimmick. It's very real to life. There's nothing phony about that. Zicky Dice, he took a couple unfair shots at me, I'd say, and I wasn't appreciative of that. I thought I deserved better. But with that being said, I think Zicky Dice was employing a very dastardly strategy from the old territory days. we were scheduled to grapple each other at bar wrestling not even 3 weeks after we had our match at Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. And I think Zicky was trying to soften me up for our showdown in downtown Los Angeles.
I think.
And after we had our match, David Marquez, who I think you saw on the program, he yelled at Zicky because Zicky was being outrageous, outlandish, vicious, really. And
I'm glad you brought that up. Real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jervis, but just so the fans know that Dave Marquez, he's usually if he's not doing interviews ringside, he's in the production area. So for him to come out of the production area and come away from his job of producing TV, it was something that was, like you say, outlandish. You don't see that very often.
Well, David Marquez has been around for over 13 years. He's seen several riots in his day. And, Zicky Dice is very much a throwback to a bygone era. Zicky Dice, I think he'd be happy with a riot. And I think that's why Dave Marquez ran from the production booth, is because if Zicky Dice had taken off my mask, he might have caused a riot there in Port Hueneme, California. I think the people without being too self-absorbed, I think the people there really respect me. And I think if Zicky Dice were to have taken away my honor in the form of my mask, that could have been really dangerous. So David had to come out and calm things down, and it certainly did. Mr. Dice, I think, above all, I don't think he wants to ruin his chances for employment. As you said, he wants to be on the show. So he did cool off a bit. And I will say this to Mr. Dice. If he acts less outlandish and a bit more sporting and gentlemanly and shows more sportsmanship, he might just get more television time.
That is a very good point, Gentleman Jervis. You always have a nice way of looking at things. And because of that, just before the pandemic and everything happened, you had a promo on our program that was just so touching that I think that everybody should listen to. So we're going to repost that for everybody. But for everyone listening to the program right now, no matter what part of the country that they're in, what would you have to say to them moving forward?
I think it's going to be important that we choose our words and our actions carefully. I've said at times during this pandemic, I've said things out loud to myself like, this stinks. I hate this. I want things to go back to normal. And I think a better way of saying that would be, I can't wait to see how great things are a few months from now.
Yeah.
You still express that you're not happy with the current situation, but choosing your words wisely, which for a lot of people can take a lot of work, especially up front. It's like meditation or yoga or physical fitness, like Olympic weightlifting. You need to start slow and small and then build it up. So I like to use positive affirmations. And that's where you deliberately say something positive in the morning that empowers yourself. So you can say something like, I deserve love today. Or you say, I am going to be happy today. I am grateful for the sunshine in Los Angeles today. Something that's very deliberate. It may seem even childlike in a way, because it's how you teach a child to speak. But I think during times of great trauma, we need to massage our minds and reintroduce them to positivity. So I would urge everyone to start your day with a positive affirmation. I love myself. I am proud of myself for staying sane. Anything really. So, I like my style. I think I have good taste in music. Whatever it is you feel positively about, say that out loud. The more you do it in the morning, it's sort of like making your bed. It sets the tone for the rest of the day. So
totally agree.
I think that's how we move forward.
Absolutely. And that's exactly why we wanted to have you on the podcast today. So Jervis, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. Real quick, just let all the fans know where they can find you, if they can attend your classes. Where can they pick up one of these awesome Gentleman Jervis masks? And I know I posted my picture, but I'm going to repost it so everybody sees how cool it is. Just give us the lowdown and then we'll let you go, man.
Well, I appreciate that. I would urge you to go to merchboy.com. That's merchboi.com. And you can support various wrestlers. We've got 3 wrestlers right now that we're working with, aside from myself. And like I said, a women's surf collective. So you can support any of our endeavors. We've got new products every single week, and custom-made products that you can't get anywhere else. Now, I've also got another small announcement. I've recently been signed as an official Twitch partner and content creator.
Nice.
So I'm going to be delivering over 20 hours of content every month to the Twitch platform, and that's twitch.tv/Gentleman Jervis. If you'd like to support my channel, you can give me a follow there, or perhaps a retweet or a like. I'm going to be broadcasting pretty regularly, and that's also where I'll be hosting public wrestling seminars. So we'll talk about character building, how to carry yourself. If you're looking to break into professional wrestling, what the best way to do that is in 2020. So those are some things I've got going on, and I would love it if you'd follow me and support me in any way that you can.
We will absolutely do it. Gentleman Jervis, thank you so much for taking time to join us right here on the Championship Wrestling Podcast presented by BFree CBD.
Oh, you're so welcome. Good day to you, sir. I love you.
The Championship Wrestling Rewind is brought to you by BFree CBD.
Oh man, I think we all really needed that right about now. What a conversation with Gentleman Jervis, and he was in action last Saturday at the Red Carpet Rumble on CW30 Memphis and YouTube Premiere. So let's take a look at some of the highlights. This was the very first time that the Heritage Championship was on the line in the Red Carpet Rumble. Minority owner and matchmaker Nico Marquez forced Uptown Andy Brown to defend that Heritage title against 29 other men. Now remember, Andy Brown won the 2018 Red Carpet Rumble and came within 1 spot of successfully defending and repeating as Red Carpet Rumble winner. But let's look at some of the highlights, or talk about some of the highlights. Rogelio, who is now known as Che Cabrera, one half of the Wolf Zaddies. Howdy Price put him in a tough spot, and because he lost to Danny Limelight, he had to enter number 1, which made it really, really tough for him. He had a great outing, but was not able to pull that off. Dan Joseph was a huge surprise, coming from the commentary position and finally getting his hands on Ty Matthews. And you know, Ty Matthews, man, he really talked bad about Dan Joseph's family, so Dan was just chomping at the bit to get his hands on him. We're going to take a look at that match coming up this Saturday on Championship Wrestling and that feud. But back to the Red Carpet Rumble, Watts entered at what he calls a lucky number 13, and boy, was he as dominant as ever. The Squash God literally eliminated every single big man in that match on his way to victory. And for those wrestling historians, you know, there have been many, many winners and great luck in the number 27 spot. And that number 27 spot was yours truly, Dustin 5 Star. Oh yeah, led by my lovely Maria. We strutted down that aisle and we went and we gave it our all until Ray Rosas put his hands on my lovely Maria, which cost me to be eliminated, which it's fine if he eliminated me. That's part of the rules of the game. But how dare you put your hands on my Maria to do it? So that's where that whole thing started and where this feud started. And trust me when I tell you, when I get my hands on Ray Rosas, I'm going to end that. Now, the final 2 in this matchup, it went to a one-on-one contest. So pinfalls did count, and it got down to the current, at that time, Heritage Champion Andy Brown versus Watts. And that was where Watts hit the choke force and not only won the matchup in the Red Carpet Rumble, but he won the Heritage Championship as well. And to this very day, he is still your current reigning and defending Heritage Champion, the monstrous Watts. It was a lot of fun watching and doing our little cut-ins and giving some insight on that matchup. And then immediately following on YouTube, we had our live reaction where I went live on YouTube. We talked about it, talked some classic Memphis wrestling, had a really good time with all the fans and everybody. So join us immediately following each and every Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle, and we can chum it up and chop it up about professional wrestling and what we saw. But That was your Championship Wrestling Rewind. Let's take a look at what's ahead coming up next week.
The Championship Wrestling Lookout is brought to you by BFree CBD.
This week, you can look out. I'll be all over the place, starting with the Las Vegas Bad Boys podcast. And there's a lot of wrestling going on in Las Vegas, so it's pretty cool that they reached out to myself and my Maria. We're going to be tag teaming that podcast, so both of us, that's kind of a rarity for me and Maria to be doing interviews together. So we're going to be joining the Las Vegas Bad Boys, and of course I'm going to be posting links about how you can listen to that. And also, I'll be back on the STS podcast with my buddy Brian Tremell. That's www.stspod.club. I am going to be giving my top 10 Memphis wrestling tag teams of all time. And I can't wait for that. And we'll have to compare lists once you listen to that one, because I know our list will all be different based on how old we are. But there are some teams that transcend those years, and they should be on everybody's list. So we'll do that. That's coming up this week. And then, of course, on Thursday, it's a brand new Grind City Wrestling where we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to play one of these must go. Got a couple of different categories where we're going to have four different people or teams or whatever the category is, and one of them must go. So we're going to play that. If you don't listen, then you absolutely should. Just go to grindcitymedia.com/podcasts. And then next Saturday, boy, do we have a loaded Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle. We're going to see just how powerful the PP3 Cup and how important the PP3 Cup urn is. Bateman won it last year. We're going to see exactly what he did with it and what Ray Rosas might end up doing with his, as much as I hate to say it. Also, we're going to have women's division action. Heather Monroe, Killer Bay, she's going to be in action against Christy Janes, who we recently saw on AEW Dark. That's going to be a fantastic match. And like I said earlier, Dan Joseph finally gets his hands on Ty Matthews one-on-one after Ty Matthews had all those nasty things. Got personal. He got personal with Dan Joseph, talking about his kids, talking about his wife. We're not only going to take a look at that feud, but we're going to watch that match and see if Dan Joseph can get retribution. Also, we have a special feature where I not only toured Mid-South Coliseum with legendary Memphis wrestler King Cobra, the first ever African-American world champion who defeated Jerry the King Lawler in Mid-South Coliseum, but I'm going to tour that building with him, and we're going to talk about that very match and what happened that night in the very spot that it happened. And for diehard Memphis wrestling fans, you are absolutely going to love that.
It's time for this week's Mailbag. Mailbag.
It is the Mailbag, and it is one of my very favorite segments each and every week on this podcast. Remember, you can ask your questions every Friday. Check me out on Instagram, my story, at Dustin Starr. It is my favorite segment every week, but man, it's really hard to beat Gentleman Jervis. But let's try. All right, first question. There's quite a few of them this week. Some fun stuff. Did you ever have the wind knocked out of you in the ring? Oh boy, I've had a lot worse than the wind knocked out of me. I remember one time, well, actually I don't remember much of it, but there was a choke slam where the guy planted me right on my head and I got a concussion. So I've had concussions, I've been busted open, had a lot of stuff happen, so absolutely I've had the wind knocked out of me. And if you don't believe that wrestling is real, then just ask Dr. D. David Schultz. I hope you guys saw Dark Side of the Ring. Man, wrestling's a lot more rough than what people think and give it credit for. Next question says it's not a question, but I miss y'all. Oh man, I get these all the time, and gosh, I miss you guys too. And I went on the radio with my buddy Peter Edmondson and CJ Hurt the other day on Sports 56 WHBQ, and it's not just the fans, it's the ticket takers and the ushers and the staff and just everybody. Man, I want you all to know I miss you guys too. Next question, how long have you been a Grizzlies hype man? Well, I've been there 4 seasons. I believe I've been with the Memphis Hustle for 3 seasons. And it's kind of funny how I actually got the job. Of course, I'm good friends with Grizz and always had a great relationship and been a big Grizzlies fan. But they invited me to an audition. I did that. They called me the very next day and said, hey, would you like to MC our preseason game? I said, absolutely. And during that preseason game, not only did I fist bump Zebo, but I sang happy birthday with the crowd to Mike Conley. It's like, oh my gosh, I can die and go to heaven now. And then the very next day, they called me back and said, hey, would you like to be the MC for the season? And so that's when I started working with my buddy BLJ and, of course, Tam and started doing all the games. And it's just been a whole lot of fun. And myself and my Maria and Brady, we've been to playoff games and multiple games throughout the years. I saw on my time hop just the other day, Brady's first game was 9 years ago. So, wow, yeah. But 4 seasons strong and can't wait for the 5th one. Next question, where do you hang out usually? Well, I mean, usually I hang out at home, especially right now. But you can catch me at the gym. If I'm not at the gym, then I'm probably at FedEx Forum. If I'm not FedEx Forum, then I'm definitely at AutoZone Park because baseball and basketball are, stretched out that way to where if I'm not at one, I'm at the other. And then if I'm out just hanging out with friends, it's probably Kooky Canuck, one of my favorite restaurants, maybe bellied up to the bar with my buddies. And that's a rarity, but in all seriousness, we love all those places, and right now, strictly pretty much hanging out at home. Next question, who is your favorite comedian? Man, I've never been asked that before. That's a really good question. I'd have to say Sinbad. Sinbad is not only hilarious, but he doesn't cuss, he keeps it clean, and he's hilarious. So I like Sinbad. That'd be my answer. And when he's in Memphis, I'd love to go see him. What's your favorite movie? I've answered this one before, but I'll do it again because it's kind of ironic at this point. Groundhog Day. Who else feels like they're in the movie Groundhog Day? The movie where life happens the same way, same day, over and over and over again. All right, the next question is, how old were you when you started lifting weights? And on Instagram, I posted a picture of Brady as a baby with a dumbbell sitting next to him. But I wasn't that young when I started lifting weights. But I was pretty young. I was age 15. I was 145 pounds out of high school, soaking wet. Just nothing to me, just skin and bones. And who would have known that I would go on to win not 1, but 2 Mr. Tennessee men's physique contests. So I've been very fortunate. But I was age 15, man. Brady started lifting here recently at age 11. Not heavy or anything like that, mostly calisthenics and things like that. But yeah, I got started pretty early, fortunately for me. Next question, what do your days look like? Now? You want to know what my days look like now? It's probably pretty boring. I do a lot of video editing, and we're able to shoot a lot of television commercials and segments and things here at the house. We have a studio where we have lights and cameras and microphones and all that good stuff, so it's been a lot of fun. But most of the time now, my days look like video editing, video shooting, video games, and of course, petting puppies. Next question is a Memphis Hustle question. Favorite under-the-radar Hustle player? I don't know if he's under the radar, but one of my favorite dudes of all time is Nino Johnson. And Nino Johnson, not only do I like saying his name, but man, when he slam dunks the basketball, he'll pull the freaking goal down. And I was able to work with him, and Brady played one-on-one with him. It wasn't very tight contest, but at the Memphis Grizzlies youth basketball, which was very cool. He's very involved. So I like Nino Johnson, number 93. Next, have you ever won a fight? And that's from my niece Bella. So I love you guys, but yes, I never lose. Next question, how is the quarantine hair holding up? Man, it's getting long. I'm dying for a haircut. It's been over a month since I've had a haircut. And just to be perfectly honest, I usually get my haircut every single week. And not that I need it every single week, but I just feel better about having a fresh, clean cut before I go on television or before I do any kind of appearance or anything like that. But in 2 weeks, my Maria, this is the ultimate love and the ultimate form of trust. My Maria is going to cut my hair on TV. So stay tuned to Championship Wrestling for that. And I won't lie, I'm a little nervous about it. Last question of the day. I get this quite a bit. Would you ever work for WWE again? And my answer is never say never. And I'm sure there's a spot for me someday, but not today. And also, if I ever did return to the WWE, I don't think it would be in a wrestling capacity. I think I've started to transition a little bit out of the squared circle and doing things on the microphone and things that don't hurt nearly as much. But anyway, that was this week's mailbag, and I appreciate each and every question that you guys send. And remember, you can follow me on Instagram, and you can take part at Dustin Starr.
Thanks for listening to the Championship Wrestling Podcast presented by BFreeCBDcom.
BFree CBD, pain on, pain gone. 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 Body aches gone, leg pain gone, back pain gone, relaxation on.
Yes, thank you for joining me here on the Championship Wrestling Podcast presented by BFreeCBD.com. Be sure to check them out. They're offering 20% off every single day and have new products that you're absolutely going to love. So if you already take CBD, or if you've been thinking about trying it, then you certainly need to try BFreeCBD.com. Also, go ahead and like them on Facebook. Sometimes they do giveaways and you can win some free CBD. But we're going to catch you again here next Monday at high noon for an all-new Championship Wrestling Podcast presented by BFree CBD, and we're going to have another special guest. This time, it's going to be one of the voices of Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle. You heard him on Saturday say, and new Heritage Champion, that's right, our ring announcer Adnan is going to be here, and we can't wait to talk to him next week on the Championship Wrestling Podcast. So if you have any questions for Adnan, go ahead and send them my way at Dustin Starr or at CW30 Wrestling. But until then, I am Dustin Starr saying so long, everybody.